Yung sa good government, we were supposed to meet Friday, tama ba? Thursday. No, we were supposed to meet Friday. We were supposed to meet Friday, Marian. And I remember, ako yun, I actually called the chairman na I was of personal opinion kung maari bang i-postpone yung hearing dahil nabanggit nga ng ating Vice President na she was going to skip the NBI, yung patawag ng NBI, dahil kailangan niyang pumunta sa hearing. So, and the committee agreed to postpone the hearing. So actually, dapat nung Friday nag-hearing tayo. And then, for sure naman, within the day or tomorrow, maglalabas kami ng schedule kung kailan.
Ako mag-react lang ako dun sa word na ginamit mo, Miss Maria, na ceasefire. Kasi in the first place, we're not in war with anybody. We are not doing this against anybody. We are actually doing our job. There's a question of accountability. There's the issue on upholding transparency in government affairs, especially if it concerns the utilization of public funds. So wala hong giyera dito. Ito po ay mandato ng legislatura. Ito po ay binigay ng Constitution na dapat, hindi lang mandato, it's an obligation and responsibility. So I don't see why some people look at this as something na giyera. So to me, hindi ho ceasefire. We just do our job. We'll continue to do our job. And wala po kaming ginigera sino man o kanino man.
Well, again, in addition to that lang po siguro, Marian, no? Binanggit po earlier, it's related to an earlier question. And I think regardless po no, of yung ceasefire na sinasabi kung meron man, it's really a matter of consideration for the committee na baka po yung resource persons are still gathering, availability of the congressmen. We've seen as early as Friday last week, as according to Congress. Congresswoman Zamora, we were supposed to have a hearing. So tuloy-tuloy naman po talaga. It's just these considerations. But just an additional comment po, like what Congressman Adyong said, regarding sa ceasefire, I think that's very politically charged. When you say ceasefire po, parang sinasabi, it's an intentional move to cause harm of sorts in parang gera. Like have always been calling, we've always been saying earlier, let's set aside politics po. We're just doing our job here. We're talking about transparency and accountability. So dun lang naman po yung issue natin. Whether or not the scheduling has a problem, I think that's separate naman po. But I do believe from our understanding, tuloy pa rin po yung Quadcom and good government.
Okay na, Miss Maria?
Thank you, Marian.
Thank you. Melalis Moras from PTB4.
Speaking of good government hearing lang po, can I just ask yung ano po yung naging basis dun sa pag-release ng release order kay Attorney Zulaika Lopez, and moving forward, ano na pong mangyayari sa kanya? Yung nung weekend, nung Sabado po kasi nag-release na yung House Committee on Good Government ng release order kay Attorney Zulaika Lopez. Paano po tayo nag-come up sa committee? Maybe si Kong J din po. Pero I think member din po si Kong Adjong. Yung naging basis lang po natin dun sa order, and moving forward, yun po, nag-commit po ba si Attorney Zulaika sa committee na haharap pa rin siya sa mga susunod na pagdinig?
Ang alam ko kasi yung maximum na penalty for the contempt is actually 5 days. No, it was extended for 5 days. And number two, the consideration also is that yung medical condition ni Attorney Zulaika, she was admitted at the Veterans Medical Center. And prior to her yung pag-discharge sa kanya, I think Secretary General ang SAA communicated with the doctor, the physician attending Attorney Zulaika. And the decision of the committee was to release her based on the number of days that she was cited under contempt, no, for a detention. So yun po yung naging consideration. Remember, yung detention niya she was supposed to be transferred to correctional, but due to medical issues, the committee decided to allow her to be admitted at the Veterans Medical Center. But sinabi naman po niya, I guess yung sa sulat niya, sinabi niya she will cooperate should the committee continue on hearing the case of the OVP, DepEd. OVP ba? And DepEd, confidential funds. Nag-assure naman siya na she'll be attending the next committee hearings.
Opo. So next hearing, Kong Zia, expected natin na harap si Attorney Zulaika Lopez as well as yung apat na naka-firm.
Yes, if there's no medical problem or immediate medical attention that she might need, I guess there's no reason for her not to attend.
Sorry, baka lang po may info din kayo. Si Mark Taguba po ay pinayagan na ng Bureau of Corrections na manatili nga dito sa House. Ano po yung magiging process doon if we have info? Hanggang kailan po kaya dito siya dito mag-stay? And ano po ba yung process pagka convicted yung nasa mas mahigpit po ba yung security? Kung meron lang po tayong info about it.
Merong request for transfer. Yeah. Yes. Si Mark Taguba kasi during our last hearing, ito si George can also say something about the request. Si Mark Taguba kasi he's been receiving death threats, no? So he requested na kung pwede since na the Quadcom will be holding continuous committee hearing, that it would be, I guess, safer kasi yung pag-transport kasi ng mga resource persons natin the request was requested to the BJMP, diba? It's a Bureau of Jail Management. So it was requested and then pumayag naman po sila kasi it also happened to other resource persons. So it would be more convenient and easier for us to request these resource persons anytime that should their attendance or their presence are needed, no? In the Quadcom. So yun lang po yung nag-request po and then it was granted the request. That's why he's now under the custody, under the detention facility natin.
So until nag-hearing po yung
alam ko until such time that the committee will file its committee report, determination of the Quadcom, and that's the time that Mark Taguba will also have to return back to where he is imprisoned. No?
Thank you po.
Hello. Morning, Kongs. I'm Chino from GMA7. I'd just like to ask, while it's clear that yung work of the Quadcom and the other committees on investigating the alleged irregularities may or may not lead to an impeachment complaint, is there also a safeguard na someone might safeguard against someone that might actually stymie the impeachment process by filing a defective complaint? May mga ganun ba kayong pag-uusap na, somebody will just file a defective complaint and then it'll be barred for, I think, a year, pagkatapos nun, diba? So, is there safeguards or are there talks about that?
Sorry, sir. I won't be able to talk about safeguard. Well, for one, I don't think it's been discussed. If there have been discussions on safeguards regarding that issue, probably beyond our circles, kami po, we're just members here. But from my understanding po, and I could be wrong because again, as mentioned, we're neophytes. When there is a pending complaint for impeachment, in either of the three modes, I think if it is defective, the third mode would be eliminated right away because I don't think 1/3 of the House would vote on that in promote that. But for a defective impeachment complaint to have been filed and to be endorsed by a congressman or congresswoman in either of the or the second mode also by which an incumbent congressman or congresswoman would file that defective complaint, I think these two would still have to go through the Justice Committee, and I think that's where they would thresh out the defective complaint. But whether that would trigger the 1-year ban under the Constitution, I'm not too familiar. But I think that's the safeguard in the rules, is that it would be dealt with by the Justice Committee po.
Sirs, ma'am. Hello, hello. Sirs, ma'am. Kuha lang po kami ng reaction dun po sa hinihiling na investigation sa NBI ni Kong Barbers dun sa mga vloggers na yung organized vloggers na nagkakalat daw ng maling impormasyon. Kong J. Kong J.
Just to start lang po siguro, I think we all here in the House, I can't speak for them, but I think we would be in support po of the call ni Chairman Barbers. As we have noticed, although this is beyond already the scope of what's going on, as an effect, we've witnessed po kung anong nangyayari with these vloggers, and I think he also made mention of yung mga troll farms, and it seems to be a concerted effort po talaga. While freedom of speech is protected right under our Constitution, it has to be tempered rin po with responsible practice and use. And in fact, it is penalized under libel or slander. Well, libel mostly in relation to printed and published media. There's that safeguard. So I think what Chairman Barbers is asking for isn't anything new. It's just that he is asking for assistance given the complexity and the complexity of the issue. Kasi po when we're talking about itong vloggers and social media, you have questions of jurisdiction, you have questions of cyberspace, the issue of anonymity. Yun po yung nakakatakot po dito. We have congressmen and congresswomen who, whether or not it is related to their function, have been receiving threats. They have been receiving anonymous messages, either death threats or threats to their families. And it should be something that no one should be subjected to. Free speech is one thing, but to rely on character assassination is a totally different issue. And I think Chairman Barbas was just speaking up for the welfare of not only the congressmen, but for a healthy discourse po ng society in general. So I think we support that definitely, and we are hoping that the DOJ would help us. Kasi po, if it is proven talaga that these sophisticated schemes are being employed to really target congressmen, congresswomen, not for their personal gain, but for that political purpose, then it must be something that should be acted on po talaga. So, yun lang po.
Ako, I have no problem with people having different opinions and position. Kasi that's what democracy is all about. We have to enjoy, we have to celebrate the diverse opinions, no? Yung diversity, because that's actually is fuel to keep democracy running. But unfortunately, in this kind of online landscape, we've seen troll farms, we've seen vloggers, hindi ko naman nilalahat, no? Who are up for grabs, no? Sometimes they are being used by political propaganda to malign, discredit a certain perceived enemy, no? Sa akin, pag hindi ho natin ito mapag-usapan, it counters the very foundation of democracy, because how can you have a populace with informed decision kung ang binibigay mo sa kanila ay puro mali, fake, and disinformation? I guess this is a call for every one of us that in order for us to maintain a healthy communication space for everyone, dapat ho natin din magkaroon ng safeguards na hindi mahaluan ito ng propaganda, peking propaganda, at maling mga impormasyon. The only way for us to have a healthy space for conversation is to basically agree on facts. Unfortunately, naging subjective ang facts ngayon. Dahil dun yung karamihan po sa mga trolls, mga troll farms, dinidistort nila yung facts. So I guess that yun ang intention ni Congressman Chairman Barbers, that we can disagree, but at least let's agree on facts. And, para sa akin, ako personally, I would support the move of Congressman and Chairman Barbers para po maprotektahan natin yung magandang spasyo sa pakikipagtalakayan sa publiko.
Okay. Next question from Billy Vegas, Avanti Politico.
Habol ko lang po, meron pong sinabi si Sara. Sabi po niya, mas sure pa daw na dadalo siya doon sa hearing ng good government kaysa doon sa patawag ng NBI. Reaction lang.
We look forward to it. We look forward to seeing the Vice President.
I think additional comment lang po, no, in relation to yung nangyari last week. I think it's unfortunate po kasi po if you remember, meron po tayo sanang Good Government Committee nung Friday, and it was intentionally canceled to allow for the Vice President to attend the NBI subpoena set on the same date. Because at the time that the cancellation, we found out po that the VP was using the Good Government Committee as a reason po not to attend the NBI. So out of respect and courtesy, we've already had quite a number of Good Government Committee hearings. Not that we're saying one is more important than the other, but given that this would be the first and bago pa lang yung issue of NBI, it might concern national security. In layman's terms, nag-give way po yung committee. Ngunit hindi po nag-attend yung ating Vice President. So, again, we see it now. There's the commitment at least to attend good government, but she is giving the condition na baka hindi po sa NBI. I don't understand po siguro, di ko po naiintindihan siguro kung bakit it would be easier to commit to one and not to the other. I think that she should commit to both po, because these are both legal processes that have to be complied with. And I hope that if there's anything, I hope yun po yung gawin po niya. Thank you.
Okay, last question from Joy Cantos from Filipino Star ngayon.
Good morning po, sir. Hingi lang po sana ng reaction doon sa sinabi ng some political analysts that the president will be seen as a weak leader if the impeachment for if BP Sara will not be subjected to impeachment po.
To answer po, no. Of course, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and that political analyst, if they believe impeachment is the only route to show strength, then we can't change that. But siguro po, ako personal opinion for this representation, impeachment is not the only avenue to exert kung ano man yung tama. As we've discussed prior, wala naman pong immunity ang Vice President. There are also possibilities for criminal accountability, criminal liability to be had through, yun nga po, and we've seen it. The PNP has filed cases, the DOJ, through the NBI started investigation. So it's not the only way to, exact accountability for those acts. But regarding impeachment po, that's a totally different matter also. And it would not come from the president. I don't know why it should reflect on the president, because the impeachment complaint should come from either a private citizen or that endorsed by the member of Congress. So if wala po mag-file, then how could that reflect po on the leadership of the executive? So I think that's just my comment for the expansion po siguro ng discussion ng political analyst na yun.
Actually, dadagdagan ko lang, no. Kailangan po natin maintindihan na magkaiba po yung trabaho ng executive at saka legislative. If it's about the impeachment, possible impeachment complaint, it's entirely up to the House members, no, on how they would appreciate the merits of the possible impeachment complaints. Let's not, for me, yung position po ng President is just his personal take on that. And that should not be taken as something that maybe, as a gauge on how strong he is as a leader. I think he has so strong points naman eh. Kasi ang sinabi naman po niya doon, let's focus on nation building. Let's focus on the problems. That's how he viewed that with the lens, yung lens and yung access niya po being the top executive official in the land. No, he's the number one president. He's running the affairs of the government. When you talk about complaint of possible complaint ng impeachment, that is purely a legislative process. Na it's again depends on how the membership, individual members will look at the merits. No, balikan ko lang po yung kaninang tanong ni ang ating kaibigan,
Bile,
boss.
sir.
I think choosing between the two, it's not really a matter of choice. It's actually I think it's proper, and it's how a official respect the rule of law, and the demands of these cases filed before the NBI should be squarely dealt with by the head of the office, meaning the vice president herself. So it's not really a choice between which does she favor the committee hearing of the Quadcom or the NBI. Both are important, and if we talk about transparency and accountability, it is demanded of her to put urgency on these two venues for her to really explain, and then maybe explain her side or her own position on the allegation that were thrown at her and her office. No, so ganun lang po, idadagdag ko lang po sa sinabi ni Kong Rog.
Sir, just a follow-up, sir. Are you in favor of impeachment versus President Sara? Maybe not now due to time's constraint, but next year, next Congress, sir.
Are you in favor of impeachment?
Me?
Impeachment.
Ikaw daw, Congress.
Kayo, sir, lahat.
Wala pa naman pong hinahain na impeachment complaint. So I think it's preemptive na sumagot sa ganung mga katanungan. Kung meron na pong impeachment
naman yung
complaint,
sa file.
depende mo po sa substance, yung merits ng complaint na yon.
I think what's happened po kasi is people are equating yung impeachment to a political exercise. It's whether you are for or against the person. But I hope we don't forget the fact that an impeachment is based on grounds. This is not on personality. It is about the facts that attend the facts and circumstances surrounding po an alleged violation. So we're talking about graft and corruption, betrayal of public trust, culpable violation of the Constitution. If wala pa pong basis, and rightly so, as mentioned by Congressman Adyong, kung wala pong inihain pa na complaint, how can we base po, no? How do we say na these are the facts are ready for impeachment? So we can't say we're for or against until we've seen po the complaint. Yun lang po.
Thank you. To our honorable guest, kindly proceed with your short opening, closing remarks, rather.
Nagpapasalamat kami sa inyong mga katanungan. I mean, for sure naman, this week will be a colorful week, and the next 2 weeks ahead. Andito lang naman kami to always answer your questions. So maraming salamat, and we hope that everyone has a good day ahead.
Sa ngalan po ng aming leader, si AML Konghun, kami po ay nagpapasalamat sa inyo, aming mga kaibigan sa media. But thank you for this opportunity. We hope we're able to answer your questions. Thank you po. Good morning.
Thank you.
Kong Sia.
Marami pong salamat, at maraming salamat po sa kay aming DML. Sana po ay naliwanagan namin ang inyong mga katanungan. Sa muli po, marami pong salamat.
Thank you, Assistant Majority Leader Pami Zamora, Assistant Majority Leader Sia Lonto Adjong, Representative Bronz Gutierrez of One Rider Party List, and of course to Assistant Majority Leader Jay Konghun, the roadshow manager of Young Guns for Today. To everyone, maraming salamat po ulit.
Thank you.